Hey, I'm Carissa with IdahoNews.com, and today I'm working it at the zoo in Idaho Falls. You can see a sloth bear behind me. We're gonna go check out some other animals and see what some of the zookeepers here do on a daily basis. So we're with Carissa, a zookeeper assistant. Carissa, what are we doing here? Where are we actually?
Yeah, good question. So we're in what we call the habitat building. So this is where we keep our ambassador animals, so all the animals that we use for education purposes, like our small mammals, our small reptiles. We have several insects that we use for education, so I'm in charge of all of them. And then also some of the tortoises, and then the birds of prey. So I'm kind of in different areas of the zoo, kind of all over, but right now we're in the habitat, so I'll get to show you some of our ambassador animals.
Sure.
Ferrets are very, very curious. One of the cool things I love about them is that they're so bendy. So this is Mabel. She's our lesser Madagascar tenric. She's got the cutest face, I think, in the whole zoo. So this is Pickles. He's called a three-banded armadillo. So his three bands that he gets his name from are back here. He's the only armadillo species in the world that can roll all the way up into a ball. So this is his tail right here and then his head. He does that as a defense mechanism. So you guys can touch him if you'd like along the back. But he's kind of a crazy guy.
Just all the leaves gotta come up?
Yep, so usually I just rake things into piles.
Okay.
Awesome, good work. So like I said, he really loves shell scratches and neck scratches.
Okay.
Hi, bud.
How old is Omar?
So we don't know exactly how old he is. We estimate him to be about 115 years old. So he actually came from a different zoo. And unfortunately they didn't know how old he was either. So we just kind of estimate. But the oldest living Aldabra tortoise in the world is about 196, I believe. Okay. So we think they can live well over 200.
We are here with Mikayla now. We're about to feed and clean up some of the flamingo enclosure. Is that?
Yep. So these guys eat once a day. They're actually bottom feeders, so they sift their food out of the water, but to keep their pool kind of clean, we actually feed them in tubs. But they still put all of the food into their pool, so we clean it at least once a day to keep it nice and shiny for them, because it's their water source and they spend most of their time in there, so we keep it nice and clean.
That looks like dog food. Is that pretty much?
It's actually, these guys eat shrimp exclusively, so that's kind of like ground up dehydrated shrimp into a pellet form. That's actually what makes them pink, so there's a chemical in the shrimp that turns the shrimp pink, and then these guys eat exclusively shrimp, so it turns them pink as well. Okay, so we'll clean the pool.
All right, what do you want me to do?
So you can just start by hosing everything down.
I'm sure you have a trick for getting that last little bit in.
Oh, it's okay. So everywhere you see white and on the ground too is where there's poop. So we use dish soap because it tends to cut through the poop pretty well. And you just like straight up just scrub it.
Is that good?
Yeah, it looks good.
We are in the mostly primate zone, right? Is that correct? I'm here with Lance, one of the zookeepers, and we're going to be preparing some enrichment exercises for the primates. So I'm going to fold blackberries into this toilet paper roll and force them to fish it out.
We're basically trying to encourage those natural behaviors that they're going to be doing in the wild. So we really want to kind of emphasize on having a goal of what we want them to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So knowing about your animals and kind of their natural histories, what they would do in the wild is very important. You can easily just put it in a cage feeder, and that way they actually have to work a little bit more. I mean, they know how this works. I'm just trying to get most of the food off the ground because these guys are living in trees. We want to put them up as high as we can.
That way they learn some of the skills they would use in the wild. Obviously, if they're living in the wild, they're not gonna have blackberries handed to them every day.
We're here to make sure these animals have the best lives they have. And that's what enrichment is, and that's what training does. That's what a lot of what we do is because these guys are in captivity, they're in our care. We need to make their lives most memorable. We need to make sure that they're doing what they would do naturally. And that's where the joy is, and that's why, honestly, I love primates, because they're a lot more complex than other animals.
So that's what goes on a daily basis here at the Idaho Falls Zoo. For Carissa, Mikayla, Lance, and the entire crew here at Idaho Falls Zoo, I'm Carissa with IdahoNews.com. Enjoy the animals.